For 2,000 years, one name has been synonymous with betrayal: Judas Iscariot, the man who kissed Jesus and handed him over to his executioners for 30 pieces of silver, history's ultimate villain. But what if we've been wrong this entire time? What if Judas didn't betray Jesus? What if he was following orders? In 2006, a forbidden gospel was discovered in Egypt, the Gospel of Judas. And it tells a completely different story, one where Judas isn't the villain, he's the hero, the only disciple who truly understood Jesus' mission. Tonight, we uncover the shocking truth about history's most hated man, Judas Iscariot. When you hear that name, what do you feel? Probably disgust, anger, hatred. Because for 2,000 years we've been taught this: Judas is a traitor. Judas is evil. Judas is eternally damned. But what if we've only been taught one side of this story? What if the truth is completely different? A text discovered in 2006 changed everything. And today, you'll learn what was written in that text, why it was hidden for 1,700 years, and the truth about Judas. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel because this video might shake your belief system. If you're ready, let's dive into one of history's greatest mysteries. Judas Iscariot was one of the 12 disciples, among Jesus' closest friends. For 3 years he walked with him, listened to his teachings, witnessed his miracles. And then, one night, he destroyed everything, according to Matthew 26:47-50. While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd armed with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priests and the elders of the people. The betrayer had arranged a signal with them. "The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him." Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. A kiss, a sign of friendship and love. But Judas used it as a weapon to mark Jesus, and the soldiers arrested Jesus. The result: Jesus was crucified. Judas received 30 pieces of silver and committed history's greatest betrayal. Or did he? The first strange detail in Judas's story is this: 30 pieces of silver. What is this amount? The price of a slave at that time. Not enough to become wealthy. Actually quite a small sum. If Judas was truly greedy, why didn't he ask for more? The chief priests would have paid anything for Jesus. If Judas wanted, he could have gotten hundreds, maybe thousands of silver pieces. But he didn't. He only took 30 pieces of silver. And then what did he do? Matthew 27:3-5. When Judas, who had betrayed him, saw that Jesus was condemned, he was seized with remorse and returned the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders. "I have sinned," he said, "for I have betrayed innocent blood." "What is that to us?" they replied. "That's your responsibility." So Judas threw the money into the temple and left. Then he went away and hanged himself. Wait. Judas tried to return the money. He doesn't want it anymore. Remorseful, desperate, and he committed suicide. Is this the behavior of a greedy man? Or was something else happening? In the 1970s in Egypt, something was found in an ancient tomb, a papyrus codex, written in Coptic. And inside it was the Gospel of Judas. The text had remained in darkness for centuries, because early church fathers had banned it, especially Irenaeus, writing around 180 AD, declared this gospel fictitious and heretical. Why? Because inside was a completely different story. In 2006, the text was restored and translated into English. National Geographic made a documentary. And the world was shocked, because in the Gospel of Judas, Judas isn't the villain. He's the most faithful disciple, the person Jesus trusted most. And the betrayal? Actually a command. According to the Gospel of Judas, when Jesus teaches the disciples, most don't understand. Only one person truly understands, Judas. The text says, Jesus said to Judas, "You will exceed all of them, for you will sacrifice the man that clothes me." You will sacrifice the man that clothes me. What does this mean? Jesus' physical body. Judas must sacrifice the body so Jesus' spirit can be free. Another passage. Judas lifted up his eyes and saw the luminous cloud, and he entered it. Those standing on the ground heard a voice. This shows Judas received special revelation from Jesus. He saw things the other disciples didn't see. And the most critical part, Jesus said to Judas, "Look, I have told you everything. Lift up your eyes and look at the cloud and the light within it and the stars surrounding it. The star that leads the way is your star." Judas's star, his guiding star. Judas was chosen. The message of the Gospel of Judas is clear. Judas didn't betray Jesus. Jesus told him what he needed to do, and Judas, out of love, accepted. Think about it. Jesus had to die. This was prophesied in Scripture. It was part of the salvation plan, but someone had to hand him over to the authorities. The prophecy couldn't fulfill itself. One of the 12 disciples had to step forward and play the villain. What would have happened if no one did it? Would the plan have failed, or would someone else have been forced into this role? The Gospel of Judas's claim, Jesus chose his most faithful disciple and told him, "You will do this, and you will be hated forever. But this is necessary." Judas accepted. He sacrificed not just his life, but his soul, his reputation, forever. For humanity's salvation, the Gospel of Judas isn't a new idea. This debate existed among early Christians. Some Gnostic groups heroized Judas. There was even a group known as Cainites. They worshipped Judas. According to them, Judas rebelled against the God of the Old Testament and brought true salvation. But the Orthodox Church rejected this view. Irenaeus wrote, "These heretics say that Judas knew the mystery and thus accomplished the work of betrayal. They also have a fabrication of this kind, which they call the Gospel of Judas. The Church banned the Gospel of Judas. All copies were attempted to be destroyed, and Judas's image as a villain was solidified. Why? Because if Judas was good, the entire salvation story would become complicated. Whose responsibility was Jesus' death? God's, Jesus's, Judas's? The Church wanted a simple narrative: Judas bad, Jesus good. That's it. But if you look carefully at the canonical Gospels, there are some clues. In John 13:27, Jesus says to Judas, "What you are about to do, do quickly." This shows Jesus knew what Judas was going to do, and he's even encouraging it. Do quickly, hurry up, do it. Another point, Jesus knew everything. He was the Son of God. He knew from the beginning that Judas would hand him over. So why did he make him one of the 12? Why did he keep him close for 3 years? Why did he give Judas the money bag responsibility? Maybe because he trusted Judas. Maybe because Judas was the one who had to fulfill the mission. Judas's suicide is the most tragic part of the story, and perhaps the most revealing. Matthew 27:5. So Judas threw the money into the temple and left. Then he went away and hanged himself. Why did he commit suicide? If he was just a greedy traitor, he would have taken the money and fled, started a new life far away. But he didn't, because he understood the horror of what he'd done. He had condemned his best friend to death. And perhaps worst of all, no one would ever understand. No one. He would be remembered as a traitor forever. He couldn't bear this burden. And he ended his life. Suicide is considered the greatest sin. So Judas lost not only his reputation in this world, but his salvation in the next. He lost everything for Jesus. Today, theologians still debate Judas's role. There are several main views. View 1. Judas was completely evil. The traditional view: Judas was greedy, was a traitor, was possessed by Satan, eternally damned. View 2. Judas used free will. God knew the plan but didn't force Judas. Judas made his own evil choices, guilty but free. View 3. Judas was God's instrument. If Jesus had to die and this was prophesied, Judas's role was inevitable. Then how can he be blamed? View 4. Judas was a hero. The Gospel of Judas view. Judas was the most faithful disciple, accepted the hardest task, and sacrificed everything. Which view is correct? Maybe none, maybe all. For 2,000 years, the name Judas has been a curse. When you say Judas, everyone understands it means traitor. But perhaps this is unjust. Perhaps Judas's story is more complex than we understand. Think about it. What if Judas hadn't done it? How would Jesus have been crucified? How would the salvation plan have been fulfilled? Perhaps Judas made a sacrifice. Perhaps he sacrificed himself. Perhaps he committed not history's greatest betrayal, but history's greatest sacrifice, and no one would ever know. He would remain the villain forever. Judas Iscariot, traitor or hero? The Gospel of Judas offers us a different perspective, but it can't give a definitive answer, because only 3 people know the truth: God, Jesus, and Judas. And Judas died 2,000 years ago. But perhaps the question we should ask isn't this. Perhaps we should ask, if you were in Judas's place, what would you do? If your best friend told you, betray me, let me die so the world can be saved, and let your name be cursed forever, would you accept? Judas did. And perhaps that makes him not a traitor, but a hero. Thank you for watching this video. Share your thoughts in the comments. Can you forgive Judas? Or should he remain cursed forever? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because in the next video we'll reveal another forbidden truth. And remember, sometimes the most hated people are those who made the greatest sacrifices.